Hello, I'm Diane Kutu, Senior Editor at Harvard Business Review, and I'm delighted to have today as my guest Dan Goleman. Dan is a psychologist known around the world for his expertise in social and emotional intelligence. He is also the co-author of the Harvard Business Review article, Social Intelligence and the Biology of Leadership. Dan, welcome to the program.
Thanks. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. Dan, we've invited you because we want to talk about social and emotional intelligence and how they affect organizations and leaders. So let's just start at the beginning. Emotional intelligence, what is it and why is it important for us?
Emotional intelligence refers to how we handle ourselves. Are we aware of our feelings, our passions, the things that turn us on, the things that turn us off, what makes us effective, what gets in the way, and also how we manage our emotions. Do we let things interrupt our ability to focus, to get work done effectively or not? And empathy, recognizing other people's emotions, knowing how the other person sees things, how they're feeling, and using that all to interact with people effectively.
You know, your work has changed how leaders and businesses do their work around the world. Can you think of a leader who's changed how he's done his work or how she's done her work based on your insights into emotional intelligence?
Well, I hear about hundreds, but I can't name any. I can think of, though, a very highly placed executive who was hearing from direct reports that things weren't going so well. The messages came, for example, in the form of people leaving, as well as a lot of grumblings. And it turned out that when he really faced what was going on, people were saying, you just don't listen. You just tell us what you think. You say you want to hear what we know, and we know a lot, but you don't really seem to care about it. What he had to do was get better at the social intelligence ability of listening, of tuning into other people. And it's a real problem for many executives because, of course, you know a lot, but you don't know everything. But because you're the boss, people defer to you. So they start listening. But the really excellent, the outstanding leaders we find are people who first listen and get other people to say what they think and what they know, and then to put that all together for a higher order integration. That's real leadership. That's what he had to learn. And through coaching, he was able to change. And his business performance, the performance of his unit, was much, much better afterward than before.
So the level of a leader's emotional intelligence affects organizational performance.
We have so much data now, about 10 years of accumulated data from organizations of all kinds, showing that there's a direct correlation between the emotional intelligence of leadership at every level and how that organization performs by whatever performance metric you want to use.
Well, but it seems to me that leaders often think they have more emotional intelligence than they do. How do you begin to assess your level of emotional intelligence?
Actually, I think we all think we have more emotional intelligence than we do. One of the most brutal ways is to ask your teenage child. But at work, what you can do is ask other people, because it turns out that we ourselves are not the best gauge of how we're impacting other people. But other people, if you can get them to be candid, can tell you what your strengths are, and we all have them, and what you can get better at. And that's the most interesting, valuable information, because that's where any leader can get a bump in improvement. By getting better, say, at listening, as that executive did, you can become a more effective leader. And therefore, because you depend on other people for your success, by getting better at listening to them, helping them develop, helping them do their jobs well, the whole organization benefits.
Interesting. Dan, you talk about emotional intelligence, and I'm very curious how you got from that to social intelligence.
Well, emotional intelligence, when I first wrote it, was prompted for me by a new breakthrough in brain science, in our understanding of the emotional centers of the brain and how that affects our ability to